Okay, this is another reaction video. Please click like, subscribe, and share, please. Um, the most insane rich person behavior you ever experienced. I'm kind of curious about this one.
What's the most insane actual rich person behavior that you've experienced?
When I started my career, I was the assistant to a top producing real estate agent in LA, and one of our clients had no budget. She's in her 20s, had no budget. She could not look at any of the homes that her sister had already seen, who just bought a house for $95 million. Because if her sister passed on it, it wasn't good enough for her. So one of the houses we walk into, 66,000 square feet under construction. It's about half completed. We are in the 4,000 square foot master, and the developer is showing us that the hallways, there are hallways parallel to those. And he said those hallways parallel, the smaller ones, that's for the staff so that you never have to see them as they move about the home.
Absolutely. Can't see the staff. That will never do.
And she said, "Oh, that's perfect, because I hate making eye contact with the staff." And I just looked over and I said, "Isn't that amazing?" I got in the car and felt sick.
Can't blame you. I mean, gee, Christmas. Can't stand making eye contact with the staff. How gauche.
What's the most insane actual rich person behavior that you've experienced?
I have so many of these. I mean, other than forcing the poor into a lifetime of perpetual poverty. My father was working for a company, and the CEO of the company was fucking incredibly rich. He had his own private jet, and one day my dad asked me to drop him off at the airport. I didn't know this was a private airport, so you just drive your fucking car onto the fucking tarmac and drop motherfuckers off. And I was working for my dad's company at the time. And I get out and I go help my dad out with his luggage in the back of the car, and the CEO comes up and he's like, "Oh, how's it going, Richard? What are you up to?" I was like, "Just fucking to go work for you, bro." And he's like, "Hey, have you ever been to Seattle?" I was like, "Nah, bro,
I've been to Seattle.
never been to Seattle. I always wanted to go." And he's like, "Well, why don't you just take the day off work and like get in the fucking plane?" I was like, this is some big dick energy this man is exuding right now. I mean, I'm not an idiot. Of course, I obviously said yes. And my direct boss calls me while I'm on the plane, and he's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm on a fucking private jet, bro. I'm not coming in today."
What's
Well, I guess that is something. The guy said, well, enough the F-bombs, but yeah. If a guy says you want to go to Seattle, you're going to Seattle for the day? Yeah, sure, why not? I like Seattle.
the most insane actual rich person behavior that you've experienced?
Before I became an air traffic controller, I used to work in Part 135 on-demand private jet charter. And I did a little bit of sales, charter operations, dispatch, a little bit of everything. And we had this one trip where we flew this woman from Opelika, Florida to Van Nuys, California, her and her dog. Flew them out to California. And then the woman told us that her dog was sick and needed to go back home. We were like, okay. So we flew the dog back to Florida, just the dog, not even the woman. And we called the woman, let her know that the plane had landed safely and everything. And she was very grateful. And talking to her on the phone, we learned that the dog wasn't even sick. The dog was homesick. So this woman easily spent $40,000 at least to charter a private jet to fly her homesick dog from California to Florida, and then had to fly back to California to pick her up and then back to Florida.
Brilliant. I mean, if you got money to spend and you can do something like that, wow. I mean, I know what my mom would have done if my dog was homesick. She certainly wouldn't have chartered a $40,000 plane for that, but hey, you know. Yeah.
What's the most insane actual rich person behavior?
My house was so big, I had to tell my dad dinner was ready by using the phone intercom system. And all.
Well, we had an intercom system, but our house wasn't that big. It was just, we had to come downstairs.
All of those dinners were 3-course meals prepared by a private chef. We had at least like 7 employees in the house at all times, including security guards, and my mom always was terrified that there would be an inside job and I would be kidnapped.
Well, here's to protection.
When my parents got divorced, I had to live in 4 houses at the same time, and somehow I would get in trouble because I couldn't keep track of all my underwear.
Couldn't keep track of all your underwear.
One time we took a 30-minute commercial flight from Boston to Nantucket, and my dad hated the commercial flying experience so much, despite the fact that state police officers helped us through it. He had the private plane meet us in Nantucket to bring us back to Boston.
That's having way too much money that you know what to do with.
I never had to go to the grocery store as a kid. There would be a pad of paper in the kitchen. If I wrote something down, it would disappear the next day. My parents' divorce made the news, calling my mom a gold digger, and the comments were full of men counting down the years until I turned 18. I wasn't allowed to put my last name on social media because people would track me down and kidnap me.
I don't even know who the hell you are, but hey, I don't know if it was nice for you or if you're telling this because you thought it was over the top. But hey, if you experienced that, had all that money, maybe still have all that money, hey, more power to you.
The most insane actual rich person behavior that you've experienced.
An infertile A-list celebrity found me on a modeling website. Apparently, I look identical to her, so she reached out to a fertility clinic and had them reach out to me and offered me $50,000 for my eggs.
Did you take it?
So I get an email one day because on my Instagram back in the day, I had my contact email. It was from a fertility clinic. I obviously looked up the clinic. It was real. It existed. And the woman sounded very professional. She said, hey, I know this sounds really out of left field, but, would you mind letting us tell you a bit about the process just to see if you would, just be interested in hearing more information? So I'm a never say never kind of person.
And if it's $50,000, why don't you just ask for $150,000? Say $50,000 is below my is below what I would accept for something like that. But you've talked about $150,000. You're an A-list celebrity. That should be chump change for you. Hey, I'll listen to you.
So I heard him out. Again, those darn NDAs, they could not tell me what A-list celebrity it was. But part two of the celebrity wanting my eggs. Mm-hmm. So I'm speaking with this fertility clinic representative, and she's telling me a bit about their client, the celebrity, and how she's infertile. It's her lifelong dream to be a mother. I would really make her dreams come true. And it just really felt like, I would be helping her. Not to mention,
I don't know about any of you, but as I watch this, I'm trying to figure out who she may look like or who somebody thinks, who she looks like. And I really haven't come up with anybody yet.
it was $50,000.
Maybe you have.
So things escalate rather quickly, and next thing I know, I am getting tested in every way imaginable.
Yep.
I took so many tests, like mental health tests, like interview, more tests.
Was the money payable whether you gave up your eggs or not?
And I'm passing them left and right.
All right.
But I cannot begin to explain to you how many tests there were. There was a year of testing for this, a year that I unknowingly signed up for. Like, they're like, let's get started. And I was like, okay. I didn't know it was going to be a year. Part 3, a celebrity wants my eggs. So during this year of testing, they actually had to fly me out to their clinic, which is in Beverly Hills. And this is where it gets juicy. I sit down with the actual doctor, Dr. Wong. He has some starbursts on his desk, and he uses these starbursts to explain the way fertility works.
You don't need starbursts to explain how fertility works. But hey, you're getting $50,000. I'd like to hear more.
How the egg retrieval process happens, just to educate his clients, right? Very nice guy. They took so much blood from me. They took all my blood. Everything went well. I came home. But then I'm watching the Kardashians, and there's Dr. Wong. He's got his little starburst out explaining to Kim Kardashian about her
same thing you went through.
Infertility. This is some A-list shit. It was definitely not Kim K. She looks nothing like me, but I'm just saying in regarding of who the celebrity possibly was. A celeb wants my eggs, part 4. So like I said, it was taking over a year, and I was really getting fed up with having to respond to all these emails and take all these tests and just spend like an astronomical amount of my time, and I hadn't even made $1 yet. So I just started doing my research and wondering why it was taking so long, right? Mm-hmm. So through my research, I started finding all of these support groups of women getting cervical cancer from donating their eggs, and I just started really second guessing, like, if I
do you really want to go through this after everything that you've just been through?
Really wanted to go through with it. Not to mention the fact that I would literally have a kid out there. So I just thought, you know what, this is taking way too long. Had they have just done it immediately and not given me time to research, what I probably would have gone through with it. But at this point, I was just like really frustrated. Like a year of my time, not even $1. All these tests. I got free medical testing out of it, but I did not go through.
There is that
with it, which I'm very happy about. So that's it.
Well, hey, it's a shame you didn't get the $50,000, but hey, look, at least you did the research. I'm glad you did the research, but it is kind of strange that you have to go through all that stuff. Some celebrity thinks you look like her, and you gonna have a kid. Yeah, that $50,000 just because you look like somebody and going through all that stuff.
The most insane actual rich person behavior that you've experienced?
One of my clients, I used to work at a bank. When I was going through my divorce, I was going through all this. I was depressed. They could feel there was something going on. So my client had many accounts. She had many accounts at the bank, and she said, "What's going on?" And I said, "Oh, no, I'm going through stuff. I'm going through a divorce, this and that." She said, "Oh, let's go out and eat, and we'll talk about it." We went out to eat, and she said, "How much?" I was like, "How much what?" She said, "How much do you owe?" At that point, I owe a little bit over $12,000 in cars, bills, credit cards that he left me. And I had 2 kids. And I needed to find a place. She said, "You want a cash or check?"
Oh, my goodness. Cash or check? Hey, cash.
She barely knew me. She was just a client. She just wanted me to be okay. Which
is very, very good. And that's a heck of a nice thing to do.
I ended up getting us a loan and paid it in 2 years.
Good for you. Good for you. That's great. I like that one. She paid it back. That's good. But yeah, the only rich person behavior, I've never experienced this, but I did hear about this. This was back in the day when you could actually smoke on airplanes. And I knew there was a rich guy who just didn't want anybody to smoke. And so he actually paid for the guy who was going to smoke. He said, "If you don't smoke, I'll pay for your first class ticket with cash." Now, if you've ever watched listen to the Bruce Pritchard podcast that he does with Conrad Thompson, you know who I'm talking about. It's Vince McMahon. But yeah, I heard about that somebody was lit up a cigarette on a first class flight, and Vince McMahon paid for that first class seat so the guy wouldn't smoke. That's the most insane thing that I've ever heard of. But I've never really experienced anybody who's incredibly rich just giving away money like that. But hey, that was rather interesting. I did like the last one though, that she actually did pay it back. So it was an awful nice gesture of the individual to pay off the bills, and awful nice on her part to pay it back. So good for her, and good for that person. But hey, thank you very much for watching this. We'll do more of these. Thank you very much, and please click like, share, and subscribe, and have a good rest of your day.